Just when you thought the courtroom drama couldn't get any more explosive, Pam Bondi just stepped into the ring and threw a legal punch no one saw coming. 5 days after Chief Judge James Boasberg of the D.C. Federal Court publicly threatened to refer Department of Justice lawyers for disciplinary action, accusing them of bad faith in a Trump-related case, Pam Bondi, a top Trump ally and former Florida Attorney General, struck back. She filed a formal judicial complaint against the judge himself. That's right, a former state attorney general is accusing a sitting federal judge of unethical conduct. And this isn't just some legal squabble in the shadows. This could shake the foundations of the very system Trump and his allies have been fighting for years. So what exactly did Boasberg say that triggered this? Why is Bondi going after him now? And what does this all mean for the future of Trump? Related cases in Washington, D.C. Buckle up, because this goes way deeper than just courtroom procedure. It's a high-stakes battle that could tilt the scales of justice itself. Judge James Boasberg isn't just another name in the federal judiciary. He's one of the most powerful figures in Washington's legal system. Appointed by President Obama, Boasberg currently serves as the chief judge of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. That means he oversees some of the most politically sensitive cases in the country, especially those involving high-profile figures like Donald Trump, members of Congress, and federal agencies. But Boasberg's influence doesn't stop there. He also served as a presiding judge on the Secretive Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court FISCUS, which handles top-secret government surveillance requests. This is the same court that approved FBI surveillance on Trump campaign aide Carter Page, something that has fueled conservative criticism for years. To many on the left, Boasberg is seen as a the book judge. But to Trump allies, he represents everything they believe is wrong with the DC legal system: biased, political, and part of what they call the deep state. So when Boasberg made a bold public move against Doge lawyers last week, it didn't take long for Trump's legal allies to fire back. It all started with a case involving Steve Bannon, Trump ally and former White House strategist. The Department of Justice lawyers were in court arguing over the timing and terms of Bannon's criminal contempt of Congress sentence, but Chief Judge Boasberg wasn't buying their story. In fact, he was furious. Boasberg accused the Doge lawyers of acting in bad faith, suggesting they intentionally misled the court by changing their position without notifying the judge properly. He called their conduct deeply troubling and said it undermined the integrity of the entire legal process. And then he dropped the bombshell. Boasberg said he was seriously considering referring the Doge lawyers to their state bar associations for disciplinary action. That's essentially the judge saying, you might lose your law license over this. That kind of judicial rebuke is rare and public. Boasberg wasn't just issuing a private warning. He was putting the Department of Justice itself on trial. To Trump's camp, it looked like even the Doge wasn't safe from DC's legal power brokers. But for Pam Bondi, it was the opening she needed to strike back. Pam Bondi didn't wait. Just days after Boasberg publicly scolded Doge lawyers, she filed a formal judicial misconduct complaint against the judge himself. Why? Because according to Bondi, Boasberg crossed a serious line, injecting bias, political hostility, and public condemnation into what should have been a neutral legal proceeding. In the complaint, Bondi argues that Boasberg's threats against the Doge were not only inappropriate but strategically timed to send a message. Her position: that the judge's comments were part of a broader pattern of judicial activism aimed at intimidating Trump's allies and manipulating the media narrative. She even suggested that Boasberg's remarks could jeopardize the fairness of future proceedings, not just in Trump-related cases, but in any high-profile political trial happening under his watch. Let's be clear, judicial misconduct complaints are rare, and complaints against federal judges, especially chief judges, are even rarer. For a former state attorney general like Bondi to file one means this isn't just political theater. It's a calculated move, and it's aimed at shaking public confidence in the very judges presiding over Trump world cases. This isn't just about one judge or one complaint, it's a chess move in Trump's broader legal war. Donald Trump and his allies know the courtroom is just one battleground. The real fight, it's in the court of public opinion. And painting the justice system as politically corrupt has been a central pillar of Trump's defense strategy from day one. By having Pam Bondi file a misconduct complaint, they're doing two key things: undermining the credibility of federal judges, especially those overseeing Trump-related cases. If the public begins to doubt the fairness of the bench, every indictment, conviction, or sentencing starts to look like political revenge rather than justice, setting up a narrative for appeals and delays. If Trump's lawyers can argue that the judges were biased or unethical, it gives them more legal ammunition to challenge verdicts, delay proceedings, or even request removals. This tactic isn't new. Trump has long accused judges, prosecutors, and investigators of being deep state operatives or radical leftists. But Bondi's complaint turns that talking point into official legal action, and that matters. It's a move designed not just to pressure Boasberg, but to send a warning to every judge handling Trump cases going forward. We're watching, and we will push back. The reaction: explosive and completely divided. Left-leaning media outlets are calling Pam Bondi's complaint a desperate stunt. They say it as part of a coordinated Trump strategy to discredit the justice system before trials even begin. Legal analysts on MSNBC and CNN are warning that these moves could erode trust in American institutions at a time when democracy is already on edge. But on the right, it's a totally different story. Conservative outlets like Fox News, Breitbart, and the Daily Caller are amplifying Bondi's complaint, calling it long overdue accountability for judges they believe have become partisan actors. They're painting Boasberg as part of a rigged system that targets Trump and his allies while giving a free pass to Democrats. And it's not just the media, it's voters too. On social media, Trump supporters are flooding the conversation with messages of support for Bondi, calling her brave and accusing Boasberg of being a deep state puppet. Meanwhile, critics argue this is just more chaos being sown to distract from Trump's mounting legal troubles. The net result: even more polarization and even more skepticism about whether justice in America is truly blind. So what happens now? Well, judicial misconduct complaints don't just disappear. Boasberg's conduct will have to be reviewed, most likely by a panel of other federal judges. That process is typically secretive and slow, but if they find any merit in Bondi's claims, it could trigger a formal inquiry, a reprimand, or even a public hearing. But let's be honest, that's a long shot. Federal judges, especially chief judges, are rarely punished. Most complaints are dismissed quietly, but that might be exactly what Trump's team wants. If the complaint is dismissed, they can claim, "See, the system protects its own." If it's taken seriously, they'll say, "We were right. This judge was biased all along." It's a win-win narrative for Trump's base either way. Meanwhile, Judge Boasberg may now face increased public pressure and scrutiny in every ruling he makes, especially involving Trump allies. And that pressure could influence how the DOJ, the courts, and even juries respond in future proceedings. In short, proceeding time, this isn't just about one legal filing. It's about shifting the battlefield, stalling the process, and delegitimizing the referees in a high-stakes political and legal war. And the fallout: it could shape the tone of the 2024 election and beyond. So, is Pam Bondi's complaint a legitimate call for accountability, or just another political grenade tossed into the middle of Trump's legal minefield? It depends on who you ask. To Trump's supporters, this is a bold stand against judicial overreach, a move that exposes the double standards and political bias they believe have plagued his trials from the beginning. To his critics, it's yet another attempt to bully the justice system, intimidate judges, and blur the line between fact and Trumpaganda, fiction, law, and propaganda. But one thing is crystal clear: this isn't just a legal maneuver, it's a calculated move in the larger war of narratives. In a time when trust in institutions is at an all-time low, every complaint, every filing, every press release is meant not just for a courtroom, but for the camera, the voters, and the headlines. Whether Bondi's complaint sticks or not, it fuels the larger story Trump wants to tell: compare that he's not the criminal, he's the victim. And as the 2024 race heats up, that message could be more powerful than any verdict. This move by Pam Bondi isn't just about Judge Boasberg. It's about something far more strategic controlling the story. As Trump faces mounting legal challenges, his team isn't just fighting in courtrooms. They're waging a full-scale war in the minds of voters. They know the headlines matter. They know public trust is fragile, and they're betting that if they can make enough Americans question the PUD system, then even a guilty verdict might not matter. So whether you see Bondi's complaint as a stand for justice or a smokescreen for corruption, understand this: in 2024, truth won't be decided by judges alone. It'll be decided by you, the public, at the ballot box. Stay sharp, stay informed. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more no-nonsense coverage on everything happening at the intersection of law and politics. We'll be watching closely.